Hey, this is Daniel from the Blue Corner, and it's that time of month where I take a look at the previous month and check out all the games that I've played and give you my opinion on, well, all of them. So let's get started. I like to start with the lowest ranked ones, and the ranking will be over here on the screen for you to see. But my first one I'm going to talk about is a party game, and that party game is pretty popular, but not with me, and that is Just One. Now, don't get me wrong, Just One is a fine game. I enjoy when I play it. I laugh, I have a good time, but I just feel like it falls flat. Not falls flat, but the gamification of it just never seems to live up to its full potential. The whole point of the game is you're a guesser and you have a word in front of you, and your friends have to write a single word down that will help you figure out what the word is in front of you. Now, the catch is everyone will show their words without the guesser looking, and any duplicates will have to be erased. So if you're playing 6 additional people and 3 of them come up with the same word to describe, let's say robot, yeah, there you go, robot, then they might put bender, and all 3 of them put bender, and then somebody puts like a clanker or something like that, and well, the 3 people who put bender has to erase it. So now I'm just looking at the word clanker. Okay, can I guess what that is? I don't know. So in theory, this is like a fun concept, and it does get a lot of laughs, and you do kind of mind meld with people. You get to be creative, but in my experience, if you play with like 3 people, I almost feel like the guesser always gets it right. It just doesn't feel very hard. And then if you play it with 6 people, I feel like half of the people like overlap anyways, and you have a higher probability only having like 1 clue. And when you do have 1 clue, they're just like, hey, that's funny, isn't it? And I'm like, not really. Like, it's not that exciting to try to guess a single word on 1 clue. I don't know. Just One. It's just a meh party game for me. But don't get me wrong. I'll play it. I'll like it. And I'll laugh. But it's not one I'm going to just choose to play. My next one is the oldest game on any list. And that is chess. That's right. My son, Brendan, has taken a liking to chess. So I've been playing that a little bit more. And while I give chess a 5, that's purely on my own enjoyment. Obviously, I have to acknowledge that there's some quality to chess that people throughout all of history have seen, but I don't like what chess does. I can't think the way you're supposed to think in chess. I've played chess my whole life, just like many of you, and I don't think I've ever won a single game of chess. And at best, we both give up because we're both down to our kings, and then what else are we gonna do? So chess is just, I don't know. My mind doesn't wrap around it. Maybe it's because I'm an idiot. Maybe it's a me problem. But in a world with a lot of abstract games, I'd much rather play almost any other abstract than chess. But I am happy to play chess with Brendan. So there we go. I see a lot of chess in my future. Maybe I'll get better, and maybe this rating will go up. I doubt it, but we'll see. All right, my next one is another party game. So my last Second Friday, I pretty much sat at one table and we played party games the whole night. One was Just One, and then the other one is So Clover. And I gave So Clover a 6. I probably could go up on that. I do like So Clover more. Maybe even more than Codenames. I don't know, maybe 6 is a little harsh. Well, what So Clover is you are dealt out 4 like squares of paper that have words on each of the 4 sides, and you put them into 4 sections of this clover. So each 2 sections of the clover will align to 1 square with 2 words on it. And then each section has 2 words. I don't know if I'm explaining this well or not. And then you have to write a word that combines those 2 words together. Well, then you take the 4 little pieces of paper off, you mix them up, you throw a random one in there to make it a little edgier, and then your friends have to decide how were these placed to make you think the words that you thought. This is pretty clever. It's so clever. It's so clever, right? It's so clever. No, it's cool. I don't know. I probably should give this one higher than a 6, but you get a lot of good laughs. You really get inside people's heads. Even when you're the clue giver, it's kind of funny because you get to sit back and listen to everybody debate and argue about what Daniel was actually thinking. And then at some point they obviously say, well, maybe he's just an idiot and he would think that these 2 words go together. And then that's usually how they figure out if it's me or not. So the flaw of this game is that when people are bad clue givers, Like, yeah, they kind of feel bad because everyone's sitting here like, it can't possibly be this. And then the guy's like, no, it was that. And then everyone kind of looks at you, tries not to offend you, but they're secretly judging you. So Clover, I'm giving it a 6, but I could probably give it a 7 too. All right, my next one is an interesting game and probably one of the more unique games on this list. And I say unique because I'm not entirely sure I've ever seen a game that's quite like this, and that is Starship Captains. They could essentially call this Star Trek the board game if they had the IP. That's definitely what they were going for. There's no illusion that they were just going for anything else, period. So what's really unique about this game is the worker placement aspect of it. Let me flip this the right way here. So you might be able to see here that you have three different color of workers, and those color of workers allow you to take different actions in your starship. And once you've used them, they go down this very satisfying little I don't know what to call it, indentation that then puts them in queue to come out for next rounds. The game has a lot of promise, and every time I explain the game, people are like, oh, that does sound really cool. Oh, that sounds really fun. You have a spaceship and you're going to planet solving missions. And but every time I play it, I walk away going, I have no idea what I actually thought of that game. Like, maybe it was good or maybe it wasn't. I will say this play of it, I played with Andy and 2 other friends, and it was the best play of a game, despite wanting to walk out on Andy because he argued a rule with me so much so, even though he didn't read the rules and I taught him the game. And then he was like, prove to me that my card doesn't work the way you say it does. And I'm like, I don't want to prove it to you because I know the rule. And yeah, that could be a conversation for another time. But anyways, this was the best play of it. And the reason it was the best play is because a lot of us got a lot of missions done while also gathering a lot of upgrades to our ships. In the games I've played in the past, it seemed like everybody was really struggling to get the missions done because they were trying to upgrade their ship. So I don't know exactly what was different in this scenario, but in the end, I walked away with it, once again, not sure how I actually feel about it. Starship Captains is firmly landing into this category of a game where I want it on my shelf and I am going to teach it to people, but only because I really want to see what they think about this game, because it is so different, and I just think people should experience it. So if you find Starship Captains on sale somewhere, it's definitely worth picking up, because especially if you're into the unique experiences and trying to find things that you've never really played before. So that's Starship Captains. All right, my next one I am giving a 7, and that is Marvel Dice Thrones, or just Dice Thrones in general. Got to play this one with our producer Randy, and yeah, so I haven't been able to like truly invest my time and energy into Dice Throne. I think there's a lot there that I would enjoy, but I just get to play it like once a year, and that's not enough to truly appreciate what's going on, or not appreciate what's going on, because it's a dice chucking game where you are trying to just roll 5 dice or 6 dice, something like that, and you're trying to get a specific order of dice so that you can activate a power. The disadvantages with this game is that you are still bound by those dice rolls. So if you really want to trigger an ability, then you have to roll the right dice, and that's always iffy in a game. Now there is some dice mitigation, but you have to play cards from your hand to largely do the dice mitigation. Also, there is a vast array of powers, so you should almost always kind of activate something every turn. Now, last time I played, I kept failing to activate a power despite the 8 powers on my board. So because of that, I do feel like sometimes I leave this game feeling underwhelmed, but I don't know if that's an experience problem or if that's an issue of the game. So I'm landing on a 7 because I do want to keep playing it and I do want to try it, and I think it's better than what I feel like it is. So this one's definitely a 7 for me. The next one, I've been playing on Board Game Arena a lot, but I got it out to the table last month, and and really enjoyed my experience, even though my friend Ryan Evans did not enjoy his experience as much, and he thinks that maybe there's just too much going on in this game for not enough reward, and that is Darwin's Journey. I will say that playing this online has made me kind of frustrated with the game in general. What's really exciting about Darwin's Journey and why I actually like it and giving it an 8 before I say anything negative about it is that it's a combo-rific game. You're always trying to figure out which move, where you can put your worker at, that will trigger 3 other activations. And to me, a game that just constantly has these triggering combos is fantastic and super satisfying, especially when you get one that takes your opponents by surprise, and all of a sudden your ship, who was at the bay, has now jumped ahead to the next island, and your opponent's like, well, I did not even see that coming. So there is a lot of good things in Darwin's Journey. Also, the gimmick of this is that your unique worker is upgraded by putting stamps on there, and the stamps also unlock different spaces on the board and allows them to take better or different actions. So those are all clever things about Darwin's Journey. But what Ryan said about the game just having too much and not enough reward, it kind of is resonating a little true with me, and I am thinking a lot about it. Like, there's just so many different options you can do, which is usually a good thing, but I do feel like there is diminishing returns on any game that says you can do whatever you want to do, and then you get stuff for doing those things. And I wonder if Darwin's Journey is there, but whether it's there or not, I don't know. But as of right now, I'm enjoying it. I'm at least enjoying it, playing it on the table. So I'm giving it an 8, and I was happy to get it played this game. My next one, I have it right up here, and this is a special box for us because I met the designer of this game at Gen Con, and I didn't get to spend a lot of time with him, but we spent enough that he remembered me, and when we had a mutual friend make a connection, he was happy to send us a pre-production copy of Bagged and Boarded. It is a economic game about collecting comic books. They are generic comic books, but comic books nonetheless, and it is fantastic. It kind of takes place in the 60s, so that you are a kid and you are spending like 5 cents on a comic book, or you're going through the comic book catalog and spending 15 cents to order one. You are depending on how many of a specific hero is in the display, it does increase the value of that hero. So all of a sudden, your back issues of that hero you can actually sell for more. And of course, this is an economic game, so whoever has the most money at the end wins. This is essentially a worker placement game where you have 12 workers throughout the day, which indicates like your time, and you are plotting your day. You're trying to decide where you're going to go during that day to optimize your comic collecting ability. Are you going to go to the comic store? Are you going to go to the convention? Or are you just going to stay at home and organize your comics? This has a really cool flow and a lot of fun things about it. I will say I am after just 2 plays of it, I do have some concerns. My biggest concern is the sameness that each game feels. There are some end game triggers. Sorry, not end game triggers, but end game scores that makes you kind of shoot for something specific or different each game, but I'm not sure it's drastic enough to make you still decide to do anything different. Example, last game we had is where your loose comics, they're usually not worth any points, which is kind of the comics you're just collecting and you haven't put any value into them, so you're not going to get any points for them. Well, in one game we played, all the loose comics gave you negative points, and I was like, wow, that's really going to change how the game played. And while it did, in the sense that nobody wanted loose comics at the end of the game, so they just made sure they took actions to move them to their bagged area, it still felt like I was just moving loose comics to bagged comics to display comics, and that was the game. When the comics go out onto display, they increase the value of the comic character in general. So that means if an opponent has like a loose one, or like one in their bag and they don't have enough to make a display, they can sell it, and they can sell it for a lot. And I do think that is where this game is hinging on. It's hinging on that ability to sell a card from your bagged area that somebody else is collecting. But maybe the game isn't long enough to truly see that happening in a meaningful way. So in the end, I'm happy. I'm backing Bagged and Boarded, and I still think it's a clever game. I do fear for its long-term playability, but hey, maybe it's a game you play once a year or something like that. But I'm excited. I'm excited to explore it more, and that's also why I'm giving it an 8. I want to explore it more. Like, I'm interested in this game. I'm interested to find if there's anything hidden in there that I'm not seeing, because what I am doing is a lot of fun. Just, am I just going to be doing the same thing over and over? That's the question that will have to be answered at another time. All right, my next one is likely my game of the year so far, if not the one that I just played yesterday in November, which I'll talk about that one next month. I'll give you a spoiler. It was a Moon Colony Bloodbath. Excellent game. So anyways, I'll talk more about that one next month, but it's that game or this game, which is what I'm debating about whether it will be my game of the year, and that is Knaterra. Knaterra is a game in the realm of a terraforming Mars or Dune Imperium. You are playing cards so that you can take more actions and build your engine. Well, let me tell the theme of this first. You are like a post-apocalyptic society, and animals are kind of reclaiming the land, but they're intelligent, so they're learning military, they're learning city planning and all that stuff. So you're essentially terraforming terraforming Earth, yes, exactly. But you're like refurbishing all the buildings, and the more experienced you are in one of the 4 sectors, you unlock specific buildings that maybe only you can benefit from, or other people who are also high on the track. But this game largely is about collecting cards so that you can generate an engine that gives you more and more actions, so that you can move up those tracks, so that you can unlock more buildings, so that you can ultimately get out all of your victory points, your buildings and your flags and all that stuff that gives you just more and more victory points, all the while creating a satisfying engine that just works really well. So Knaterra is a fantastic game. I recommend everyone go try that, especially if you're a Terraforming Mars or Dune Imperium fan. I compare this to Dune Imperium because of the racing tracks. And essentially there are like 4 factions. You can just think of it that way. And the more you do in that faction, the higher you get to go on the track, which unlocks specific abilities for you while interacting with that faction. That's how it's like Dune. And then it's like Terraforming Mars and the cards that you get and the engine building. If you like any of those 2 games for those reasons that I've said it, you're going to like Knaterra, and I highly recommend it. My next one is Robot Quest Arena. This one, I finally got my first play of it this month, and I kickstarted this, and I expected to play it with my family, and I've just never got around to it. So finally this month I was like, man, I got to get this game out. It looks so exciting, and indeed it was. I'm giving it an 8 because it is a deck building game where you are building a deck so that you can battle robots in an arena. So you're buying cards to let you move, you're buying cards that let you attack. What's kind of cool about this game too is that when you knock an opponent out, your opponent respawns on their turn. So the arena is so tight that you're never really like removing anybody. You're just very much like your person is a moving target for you to use your cards, so that your opponents are having to position right because you moved. I need to move so that I can shoot you. So it's just not like standing still and shooting each other like you would in like a Star Realms or you would in a Shards of Infinity. Instead, this is a dynamic moving board where you're trying to attack your opponent, but your opponent's always on the move as well. Just like any kind of like, what are they called? Battle bots. Yeah, you're like ramming into each other. You're knocking each other into spikes. You're bashing people against the wall. You're trying to find how you can combo, like hitting, like using one card to hit 2 people to get double the points. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I actually look forward to exploring this one more and more. Giving it an 8, and I could actually see this one going up as well. All right, my next one is like the smallest games. Usually I'm not a big fan of small games or easy games, but Captain Flip just resonated with me. I give this one an 8 for its pure simplicity and its just straightforward play. I played this with my nephew who is 7 or 8, and he doesn't play a lot of board games, but he understood this one right away. Played it with my sister-in-law too, busted it open and explained the game in like 2 minutes, and we were off to playing. And essentially all you're doing is going into a bag, you're drawing a tile out that shows a character, and you have to decide, do you want the front character or are you going to flip it? But if you flip it, you can't flip it back. So you got to make that decision right now. and then you place it on the boat, which then activates some kind of power or says it's going to score at the end. There's some of these chips can have negative effects, so there's also other chips that will actually flip the chips once they're already on the board. So this is a game of just always flipping, always trying to make something trigger or something to bang off or something. I just think it's clever, super simple, plays in 15 minutes, and it's just as fun as it sounds. And for it to be a 15-minute game and to provide that much excitement, can't go wrong with that. So that is Captain Flip. Speaking of small games that I like, Fliptoons is back. This has been an exciting game too. I would almost say that this is contention for my game of the year, but I don't think I can put a game this big in game of the year. Can I? Maybe I'd be a hypocrite if I did that, because I usually do not like small games. But this game is a card battler. I've talked about it before, so I won't go into too much detail, but essentially you're always playing about 6 cards, and you're trying to get the best result with those 6 cards, and you're playing round and round, building your deck more and more so that you have a higher probability of flipping 6 cards and getting that perfect number, which is 30. And then you play one more round to see then who has the highest number. Fliptoons is fantastic. I can't wait till they release more expansions, which I know they are. The designer or the publisher actually commented on our review of Fliptoons and had mentioned that there are definitely more stuff coming for this game, so I cannot wait. All right, my next one is a shocker. Well, kind of a shocker. I mean, you're probably thinking it's not a shocker when you see it, but it's Castles of Burgundy, and I really enjoyed it. Now, why this is a shocker is that I played Castle of Burgundy years ago, and I logged it and rated it as a 6. I was underwhelmed and not impressed. So what's the difference now? Well, I played the deluxe version of it, and while deluxe versions aren't going to make me say this game's good or this game's bad, this one I think actually had a valid reasons for affecting my opinion, and that is the size of the tile. So Castles of Burgundy, you are using dice so that you can claim tiles from the board, and you're putting these onto your own personal board, which will then trigger special ways to get victory points and all that stuff. So it's kind of a point salad game. Everything you do, you get points. Now, why the deluxe edition is better as opposed to the old one is that the old edition, the buildings are all relatively unique, but they were so small, and it was so hard learning this game to figure out what all the buildings did and remember them. So you were always like going, wait, what does that building do? What does that building do? What is that building? I can't even tell the difference between the cathedral and the church. Like, what's the difference? I don't know. I don't even know if those are 2 buildings. I just wanted to make up 2 things. But the point is, it was so hard. But in the deluxe edition, those tiles have been they increased the size of them, they clarified the pictures, and it's a lot easier to figure out what you're doing. And because of that, this is a very, very satisfying game full of combos, and when you place certain areas, you get extra victory points. So it's kind of not area control. I don't know. It's tile laying for sure, and it's dice manipulation, but it's a dice manipulation that is shared amongst everybody. So, well, kind of. You're rolling your own dice. I don't know. I only played it once this time, so it's hard for me to explain. Castles of Burgundy has been around for a very long time, so you probably know it better than I do. Just know that I actually enjoyed all the things it did. The point salad nature of this really shines. Sometimes point salad, you walk away and you feel like, well, I feel like no matter what I did, the game would have been close or whatever. Like, I didn't feel that way with Castles of Burgundy. I actually felt like there was a race. I felt like I was outmaneuvering my opponents, so really enjoyed that one. All right, the next 2 I've talked a lot about, so I will just keep it short. And the next one is one of my favorite games. Next 2 are one of my favorite games, and that is Heat: Pedal to the Metal. Again, we are doing a custom version of this. Not that we're changing the rules or anything, but we have made this a campaign game where as we win a heat, whatever they call it, a race, sure. When we win a race, we win overall points, and Randy has created like sponsors so you can get money, which then lets you buy cards instead of drafting the cards. So that's where it's really different, is you get to draft the cards. And then we also have like mapped out what our races are going to be, so we kind of know which race courses we're about to hit, so you can always prepare your card for a different racetrack so that you can have better capabilities. Like maybe if you're going to with one with a lot of turns, you're going to take better tires, or if you have a lot of straightaways, you're going to improve your body so you can go faster. So there's kind of really cool, by making this into like a campaign game, it has even intensified how much I enjoy this game. And then the last one is right here, this bad boy, and that is Slay the Spire, which, hey, I'm filming this in November, and sometime this month, the Downspire, I think is what it's called, the expansion to this, is going to be on GameFound, and I'm so excited. Slay the Spire came from a video game that was essentially just a deck building game that you would play against a villain, and it would be relatively easy to kill that villain, and at the end of that round you would get to add a new card to your deck, and then you go to the next level, fight a villain, add a new card to your deck. So it's a deck builder, slow deck builder, but it's a really fun deck building because what you're doing with your deck is really exciting because you're fighting monsters and whatnot. Now the card game, the board game, it makes this version cooperative, so you get all of the thrill and all of the clever combos that you get in the video game, but now you get to do it with a friend. And because of that, Slay the Spire board game is we call it a French kiss. No, it's a chef's kiss. John likes to call it a French kiss. Long story, watch some of our other episodes. That'll make sense. Anyways, this game is fantastic. I highly recommended it. Even if you didn't get the Kickstarter edition, I'm pretty sure the basic edition has everything in here that you need. Like, I think the Kickstarter maybe had metal coins, and probably that's it. I think everything else is just what's in the freaking game. So this game is wonderful, fantastic, highly recommended it. And if you don't want to drop the $80 on the game itself, go spend 15 or 20 on Steam or on the Switch or any other video game console and just buy it on there, because you will not be disappointed. All right, well, those were my October plays. You may have noticed I did not play any horror games. I mean, it's October, you're supposed to play horror games, right? I don't know, horror games are fine, but I don't seek those out, and I'm not going to have a special game night just to play horror games when I have all of these wonderful games that I could play. Now, I will say, if we had Spooktacular, we would have played that, and I am a little disappointed that I didn't get Moon Colony Bloodbath in beforehand, though that's not really horror, but it kind of is. It's like tongue-in-cheek horror because it's like robots murdering people. But that's for next month. Come back and listen to Moon Colony Bloodbath and how cool of a game that was. All right, guys, well, let me know, what did you play this month? What was your favorites? What was your favorite out of the ones that I played? And yeah, just let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't, think about subscribing. We'd really appreciate it. And, you know, it's free. It's free to subscribe. I bet you didn't know that. You can just hit that subscribe button, and it is perfectly free. Nobody will know you did it. You can keep it between me and you. You're perfectly fine. So just go ahead and do that. All right, guys. Well, thank you. And until next time, we'll see you around the board.